And welcome back. In today's video, I want to touch on what's happening right now for the month of January in the US regarding our US housing market. I want to share a new report from Redfin just posted yesterday, which was on Thursday. I'm making this video on Friday the 2nd here. I want to touch on what's happening right now regarding home prices, housing inventory, price reductions, and much, much more. So here's what Redfin had to say. More people are touring houses, but this has not translated into more home sales. And we actually can see this looking at showingtime.com. So showingtime.com is a website that tracks the number of real estate showings across North America. They basically track agents accessing lockboxes for houses that are for sale and provide data on their website here. It says here, the orange line, by the way, is 2024. The most recent data they have is for the week ended February 1st. And by the way, if you guys get any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And of course, also consider subscribing as well, because I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can make a more informed decision about what's happening right now in the US housing market here. So for real estate showings across North America, this week, or I should say the past 7 days here, we're up by 10.8% compared to the first week this year. The data on this website here is tracking how are the number of real estate showings, how's that compared to the beginning of each and every year here. So this compares to last year's time, we were up by only 5.1%. So the number of real estate showings right now are greater right now compared to the past several years, at least compared to the first week of those years though, right? Also, let's have a look at the Mortgage Bankers Association, or the MBA. They posted on Wednesday, January 31st, that the seasonally adjusted purchase index decreased a whopping 11% in one single week, and also is down by 20% compared to the same week 1 year ago. It says here that rates changed a little last week, with a 30-year fixed rate at 6.78%. That was last week's average rate according to the MBA, which is close to where it was over the past month. A lot has changed though, because this week rates were going down, but as of Friday, we had the biggest one-day jump in rates in over 1 year. According to the Mortgage News Daily, rates were crushed by today's jobs report on Friday. Non-farm payrolls, the main component of the report, came in significantly higher than it was expected. It was a whopping jobs report, a big increase in job gains that were not expected. The actual number came in at 353,000 jobs gained for the month of January here versus 180,000 that was forecasted. On top of that, the previous 2 months were also revised upward as well, with a big upward revision for the month of December, going from 216,000 up to 333,000. So a gain of 353,000 was much greater than the past several months. And because of that, rates absolutely increased big time on Friday. Again, one of the biggest increases in over 1 year. So the average 30-year fix as of Friday increased by 29 basis points, or 0.29 percentage points, increasing to 6.92%. FHA and VA loans are around 6.2%. So take a look at this, because this past week, rates were going down, but on Friday, a giant increase of 29 basis points, and we're still higher compared to a year ago as well, because last year, average rates were around 5.99%. So average 30-year fixed rates, again, for people with great credit, buying a primary residence and putting down at least 20%, these are the best average rates on a national level, increased by 93 basis points compared to 1 year ago. Whereas just a few days ago, we're at very low levels, or I should say low levels historically speaking over the past year or so. So let me just zoom in right here, because right now, at least for Friday, increasing to 6.92%. But the day before, on February 1st, we were at 6.63%. Besides a couple of days in December, which is more or less December 14th as well as December 27th. Besides more or less those 2 days at 6.63%, that's actually the lowest levels we've had going back to approximately May 12th of last year. But that all changed on Friday, increasing to 6.92%, the highest rates we've had going back to January 24th this year. So big picture, we still have a lot of volatility in rates. And of course, that will translate probably into a lot of volatility in the housing market here as well. So in any case, let's get back to Redfin's report here. It says Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index. That's an index they have that measures the amount of requests they are receiving for their agents to look at houses and also to place offers on houses for sale. That is ticking up as the spring home selling season draws nearer. However, though, I should say, I'll share this a little bit here. Their index is still down compared to 1 month ago and also is down by double digits compared to 1 year ago. However, it is ticking up in the very short term here. I would say probably 1 week here. That has not translated or converted to a meaningful improvement in pending sales. So even though we're seeing an uptick in home showings, that has not translated into more contracts being signed between buyers and sellers. They also say here that more buyers are touring houses because rates are holding steady below 7%, down from the 8% we saw this past October. And some buyers are worried prices will increase more if they wait longer. There could be some people who think this. I would say I worry that people are going to be waiting, or I should say I worry about people who are waiting for a housing market crash. I also worry about people who think that prices will never go down. So my advice for you guys, if you guys are looking to buy a house, whether it's in Sacramento in my territory or anywhere in the US here, is buy when it's right for you. Do not try to time the market. It's virtually impossible. So buy when it's right for you and try not to buy due to FOMO, due to the people thinking that prices are increased further. In any case, sale prices rose 5.5% year over year during the 4 weeks ended January 28th, the biggest increase on a year-over-year basis in over 1 year. And again, this has not translated into more home sales. As I mentioned, applications have decreased compared to 1 year ago and 1 week ago. And on top of that, pending sales, a measure of home sellers accepting offers from home buyers. You place an offer, get an offer accepted, that becomes a pending home sale. Pending sales posted their biggest year-over-year decrease in over 4 months, likely reflecting tepid early stage demand during the middle of January. So in January, we tend to see a decrease in overall activity, decrease in or a low level of new listings, as well as a low level of contracts being signed as well. That is absolutely normal. What I will share though is how the past month compares to the past several years though, because there's some pretty big differences regarding the number of new listings versus contracts being signed here. Already talked about this as well. Again, the Redfin Home Buying Demand Index, even though Redfin's saying here that it is seeing an uptick in early spring home buying season here, it's still down 3% from a month ago and also down a whopping 17% from a year ago. I'll share their graph here in just a little bit here. Also, people searching on Google for homes for sale is up 25% from a month ago, but still down 16% compared to 12 months ago. Okay, let's talk about home prices. So this report here covers the 4 weeks ended January 28th this year. Redfin looks at 400 plus US metros, and their data goes back to 2015. So the median sold price was at $361,245. That's up 5.5% year over year, the biggest increase on a year-over-year basis since October of 2022. And what happened in October? October 2022, we reached more or less a 20-year high in rates. Let's have a look at how each of the metros fared regarding prices here. Check this out. Anaheim, California, that's been the top spot for over 1 month. That actually, out of the 50 most populous US metros, That was actually the biggest increase overall, a giant increase of 15.6%. After that was Miami, Florida, New Brunswick, New Jersey, West Palm Beach, Florida, and Detroit, all up by more than 11%. In fact, there's only 2 metros right now that are down on a year-over-year basis. Austin, Texas, leading the nation once again, down 5.6%. Then we had San Antonio, Texas, down by 2.1%. So this means that out of the 50 most populous metros, 48 are up on a year-over-year basis. Only 2 are down. Let's also look at, what do we want to look at? Asking prices. So asking prices are just over $392,000. That's a 7% increase year-over-year, the biggest increase since September of 2022. Before I share how these numbers here compare to previous years, I also want to talk about the median monthly mortgage payment. This is based on the weekly rate or weekly mortgage rate last week, as well as asking prices as well. So that was at $2,595 at a 6.69%, a 30-year fixed rate. That was according to Freddie Mac, I believe, 1 week ago. This monthly payment is increasing by 12.3% year over year, but it's still down roughly $120 per month from the all-time record high that was set back in October of 2023. By the way, I think I mentioned that October 2022, we had 20-year highs regarding rates. I meant to say that October 2023, that was when we had all-time, not all-time record, 20-year highs regarding average 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates. All right, let's change gears and look at how does prices right now compare to years past, going back to 2021. So this blue line above right here is this year so far. The orange line is 2023. The red line is 2022. So back in June, for example, we reached all-time record highs regarding home prices on a national level and also in a lot of metros as well. 2021 is the blue line here at the bottom. So as you can see right here, prices are starting the year higher compared to, or much higher compared to last year, as well as the past several years as well. Let's have a look at asking prices because this is a different story here. Pretty wild to see this. Asking prices basically going straight up at a much faster clip compared to the past several years. But you can see here in January, asking prices tend to increase, but right now they're increasing at a faster pace compared to years past. And asking prices are up by about 7% year over year right now, getting actually very, very close to all-time record highs. The all-time record high was set back in more or less mid-May at around $400,000. Now we're only $8,000 shy of that. Pretty wild to see that. And one of the reasons why the monthly payments has been increasing is due to that rise or that rapid rise in asking prices. As you can see right here, housing payments up by 12.3% year over year, and basically is going straight up as well, unlike 2023, where it was increasing, but not increasing at the same rate this year thus far. Now, here's where it gets really interesting in my personal opinion here, because we're seeing a lack of contracts being signed, a decrease of pending home sales. However, though, new listings are up on a year-over-year basis here. Look at this. Pending sales down 8.5%, the biggest decrease since October last year, whereas new listings increased by 4.9%. So right now, the supply is outpacing demand thus far, at least looking at a year-over-year basis here. So pendings are down by nearly 10%, whereas new listings are up, a measure of people listing their houses for sale. Meanwhile, active listings, the number of houses for sale nationwide, decreased by 3.8% year over year. Also regarding pending sales and new listings, look at this. Pendings increase in only 3 metros on a year-over-year basis here. This means that 47 of the 50 most populous metros are down right now. San Francisco, San Jose, and Anaheim, California are the only only metros out of the 50 that are up year over year. Whereas Portland, Oregon, giant decrease of 31.2% in the number of pending sales. Also after that was San Antonio, Texas, Denver, Nashville, and New Brunswick, New Jersey. In contrast, look at this. New listings decrease in 16 metros. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, though, puts the biggest increase of new listings, up by 26.5%. After that, we have Phoenix, San Diego, Miami, and Minneapolis. In contrast, though, the biggest decreases in the number of newly listed houses was Denver, down by 21%. After that, we have Chicago, Atlanta, Portland, Oregon, and Nashville, Tennessee. All right, let's have a look at Redfin's data center regarding as the nation as a whole, regarding pending sales versus new listings. So pending sales right now, there's approximately 62,501, down 8.5% year over year. The blue line right here is last year, the black line's 2022, and the orange line above here, or red line, whatever you want to call it, is 2021. So the level of pending sales is, for this time of year, is at least a 3-year low. It has been increasing, which is normal, as you can see, but still below last year's levels and also below the past couple of years as well. In contrast, look at new listings, increasing just like it has in previous years here, but it's up 4.9% compared to 2023. However, though, we're still below the levels compared to 2022 and 21. And by the way, if I had to be a real estate market fortune teller, I am predicting we'll see more new listings this year compared to last year. However, we won't see a giant surplus or a giant increase in the number of newly listed houses unless people start losing their jobs left and right. So right now, the jobs market is fairly strong, but if people start losing their jobs, then we'll see more forced selling. In other words, people are tapped out of their credit cards. They don't have an income source. Therefore, they are forced to sell their houses. Right now, what we're basically seeing right now is that we still have a lot of people who have rates well below current rates, and they're not forced to sell their houses. And that's one reason why we have this, lock-in effect, because people have rates under 3%, under 4%, under 5%. And with rates at close to 7% right now, we're not seeing a lot of people sell their houses and buy a new one and take on a much higher rate. With that said, let's talk about active listings, which is housing inventory. The number of houses actively for sale in the US right now is around 743,000 units, down approximately 3.8% from 2023. It's also down compared to 2021 just by a little bit. And here's 2023 above here. So right now, 743,000 compared to around 773,000 in 2023. Something that caught my attention though is that right now we're still well above 2022's levels. So 2022 at this time, there was around 603,000 homes for sale. Now there's approximately 140,000 more. Something to keep in mind though is back in the first part of 2022, this is more or less all-time record lows, or very, very close to that, regarding inventory levels in the US. And of course, if you guys want to see home prices absolutely tank, we need to see this line right here basically going straight up like it did in 2022. In 2022, keep in mind that was when rates increased from about 4%, 5% to about 7+ % in the last half of 2022. That's one of the reasons why inventory increased big time, because people stopped buying houses, right? It went from about 600,000 in January and February that year to around close to 1 million houses by the time we hit August. That's one of the main reasons why home prices decreased big time in the last half of 2022. In addition, speaking of inventory levels right now, the month supply is at 4.8 months. This is actually the highest level we've had in about 3 years, much higher compared to 2022. At this time, back then, the month supply was around 2.2 months. I believe the all-time record lows, or very close to that, was set back in April and May, when the month supply was around 1.8 months. Now it's at 4.8 months. also higher compared to last year as well here. Here's another metric that is basically going straight up as well. That's regarding the share of price reductions as well. So right now, about 5.2% of listings had a price reduction. 2024 is right here, basically going straight up, just like it did in 2023. And we're at much higher levels compared to 21 and 22, when the share price drops was very, very low at around 2%. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because keep in mind, asking prices are basically skyrocketing, whereas we're not seeing a giant increase of contracts being signed. So therefore, we could be seeing here overzealous home sellers potentially that are asking for a higher price for the house that buyers are not willing to pay, because if asking prices are skyrocketing, whereas pending sales, which is right here, are down and down compared to the past several years, this is one of the main reasons, in my opinion, why we're seeing an increase in the number of price reductions right now at 5.2%. And lastly, let's have a look at the average sale price to final list price ratio. This number right here doesn't include any price reductions that home sellers have done. So in any case, when looking at the sales price compared to the final list price, that ratio right now is at 98.2%. This means on average, home sellers who sold their houses over the past 1 month have sold their houses for 1.8 percentage points less than their final asking price. This is still higher compared to last year's time, but below levels in 2021 and 2022. In 2022, this time, houses on average were selling for about 0.5% over the seller's asking price. Now they're selling for about 1.8% below. With that said, please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.